You pick it up every day, but did you know that this simple tool in your hand is the silent witness to a journey spanning thousands of years? Forget everything you think you know about oral hygiene, from chewing sticks to pig bristles, from the rituals of Roman emperors to modern technology. This unexpected history reveals how the toothbrush evolved in weird, creative, and surprising ways. Now, get ready to discover the true story behind one of the most humble items of our daily lives. There are certain objects in our daily lives that we barely notice due to their functionality, simplicity, and ordinariness. Yet, beneath this invisibility lies a deep evolution experienced throughout history, a direct response to humanity's cultural and biological needs, and a long transformation keeping pace with technological development. The toothbrush is exactly one of these objects, a surprising tool we reach for every morning, use twice a day, but almost never question where it came from, how it turned into this, and why it is so indispensable. The idea of teeth cleaning is not just a part of individual hygiene. It is an extension of humanity's long-standing struggle for survival. Because throughout history, oral health has not been merely an aesthetic concern, but a factor directly affecting life expectancy. From ancient times to medieval Europe, from merchants traveling along trade routes to members of the royal court, everyone felt the necessity of oral care in some way. However, the responses to this need varied greatly according to geography and culture. The modern toothbrush we hold today, with its plastic handle, neatly arranged bristles, ergonomic structure, and dentist-approved form, looks so flawless that it is surprising to see how humanity fumbled around this simple formula for hundreds of years. In reality, this tool is the result of countless trials and errors in terms of material, technique, and purpose. The reason we underestimate the toothbrush is that its modern form seems so natural, as if it had always been this way. But when we dig into the roots of this story, we see that the toothbrush is a miracle born from the combination of human creativity, cultural practices, and technological progress. Behind this little hero of daily life lies a history that is unexpectedly grand. The true beginning of the toothbrush was not bristled brushes, but tools that were much more primitive, yet surprisingly effective. Chewing sticks. Archaeological findings show that Egyptians, Babylonians, and many other ancient cultures chewed the ends of aromatic tree branches to make them fibrous, using these fibers to both scrub their teeth and freshen their breath. These sticks were the first examples of the modern toothbrush's function, mechanical cleaning and reducing bad breath. While miswak-style sticks were common in ancient China, societies in the Arab geography used siwak produced from the branches of the Salvadora persica tree. This branch had natural antibacterial properties and continues to be used by many people around the world today. It is truly admirable that humanity's oldest oral hygiene practices utilized nature's biochemistry thousands of years before chemical disinfectants. The Roman Empire adopted a different approach to dental care. Romans used tooth powders made from crushed charcoal, animal bones, oyster shells, and various aromatic herbs to clean the tooth surface. Some recipes were antiseptic, while others were abrasive by today's standards, damaging tooth enamel in the long run. Ancient Greeks, on the other hand, brought a more aromatic approach to oral care by developing herbal mixtures such as cinnamon, myrrh, and mint to eliminate bad breath. In this era, the purpose of dental hygiene was not just cleanliness. Societies viewed it as a health ritual, a form of religious purification, and a social norm. The roots of many oral care materials humanity still uses today date back to these quests thousands of years ago. Oral care took on a different cultural language in every geography. In China, breath fresheners relied on mixtures of plants and spices known for their antiseptic properties. These mixtures both reduced bad odors and helped clean deposits on the tooth surface. In India, oral cleaning was a part of Ayurveda. Oil pulling, herbal sticks, and natural pastes have been used for centuries. Although Roman tooth powders and mouthwashes showed they had an advanced medical culture regarding this issue, some materials, especially fluids rich in ammonia, were quite controversial by modern standards. While oral cleaning in Central Asia relied mostly on miswak use, oral hygiene in many parts of Europe remained a neglected area for a long time. European societies had to wait until after the Industrial Revolution to adopt teeth cleaning as a cultural necessity. The common point of these very different practices is this: no matter which continent, humanity tried to find a way to keep their teeth clean. Methods changed, materials were renewed, rituals evolved from culture to culture, but the goal remained the same: a healthier mouth, a better life. Reading the history of the toothbrush solely through the evolution of hygiene tools would be incomplete, because the biggest trigger of this journey is humanity's changing dietary habits. Anthropological studies show that tooth decay was extremely rare in hunter-gatherer societies compared to today. Hard fibrous plants, natural proteins, and unprocessed foods did not create plaque on the tooth surface similar to what we have now. However, with the agricultural revolution, people's meals changed. Starch-heavy products like wheat and barley increased. Carbohydrate consumption rose. With settled life, the number of meals increased. Result: tooth decay became a widespread public health problem for the first time. In the Middle Ages, sugar was added to this picture. Sugar was expensive, but quickly became popular among the nobility. According to travelers' accounts, most aristocrats in Europe experienced a period serious tooth loss before reaching their 40s. With the spread of sugar to the masses, dental problems spread throughout society in the early modern period. What accelerated the emergence of the modern toothbrush was precisely this nutritional revolution. Humanity's struggle with decay became the real force driving the innovation of hygiene tools. In other words, the toothbrush is not just a cleaning tool, it is a direct result of nutritional history. The first example most similar to the modern toothbrush appeared in China in the 15th century. This innovation, which could be called a revolution in dental care, began with the realization of the hard, durable bristles of wooled boars living in the cold regions of China. These bristles were fixed onto bamboo or bone handles, thus providing both mechanical power and more effective cleaning. Chinese sources state that these brushes were preferred for two reasons at that time. 1. Stiff bristles scraped plaque better. 2. Bamboo and bone were durable, economical materials for daily use. This invention was not an ordinary one, but the most concrete and technical step humanity took in oral hygiene. Because this design carried the basic logic of today's toothbrush. Handle, bristles, perpendicular application to the tooth surface, mechanical scraping principle. So today's plastic brush owes its roots to China's wild boar bristles. When this innovation from China reached Europe via trade routes in the 17th century, the continent's reaction was mixed. On one hand, the idea of a brush was intriguing. On the other hand, the stiff boar bristles from China were found too hard for European gums. Europe, therefore, began to develop its own solutions. However, there was a major problem. Animal hairs harbored bacteria. These hairs softened as they got wet, deteriorated over time, and created serious infection risks inside the mouth. For this reason, early toothbrushes in Europe often became a sign of wealth rather than health. Ivory handles, silver inlays, carved bone-handled brushes, models too showy to be used, intended for decoration. The toothbrush had become a social status symbol rather than a hygiene tool. However, teeth cleaning was still neglected by a large part of society. Europe's oral health problem grew throughout the 18th century. This made the toothbrush a real necessity, rather than a simple fashion. In this very climate, the mass production revolution was at the door. The materials used in the historical journey of the toothbrush are one of the best examples showing that human creativity knows no bounds. Archaeological findings and written sources reveal that early brushes showed great diversity, not only in functionality, but also in ownership, status, and cultural identity. Some societies preferred the simplest solutions. Bone handles, bamboo handles, plant fibers, animal hairs. However, over time, this object turned into a status indicator, especially in the hands of noble classes. Brushes produced for aristocrats in Europe were almost works of art with their craftsmanship and decorations. Ivory-handled toothbrushes. Handles inlaid with silver or gold, models adorned with semi-precious stones, custom productions prepared with fine carving craftsmanship. In some examples, a family crest or monogram was engraved on the handle of the brush, making teeth cleaning a part of social identity. Among the weird materials, there were even more surprising ones. Bristles made from porcupine quills, horsehair, goat hair, and even experimental brushes made from leaf fibers in some regions. This diversity shows us this: humanity's way of taking oral cleaning seriously was limited by the possibilities offered by their geography. But at the same time, the toothbrush was not just a tool. It was a field of cultural and aesthetic expression in the hands of artisans. The inclusion of dental care among royal rituals shows how strong symbolic meanings this small object carried throughout history. In the 17th and 18th centuries, cleanliness in European courts, especially oral hygiene, was not just a personal habit, but a sign of reputation. In the French royal court, special blend tooth powders were fashionable among the nobility. These powders were made from mint, cinnamon, charcoal, ground coral, and even pearls. These mixtures carried not only the purpose of cleaning, but were seen as a sign of fresh breath and social elegance. In England, dental hygiene was a practice mostly adopted by the aristocracy. Special brushes prepared for kings and queens came from the hands of palace artisans. Some models were so ornate that they were displayed in showcases instead of actually being used. In this period, oral health meant not only cleanliness, it had become a sign of civilization. Clean teeth was a cultural prestige. Smell was a cause for social exclusion. Therefore, the toothbrush was not just a tool, but a mirror of a social class. However, this class distinction would not last long, because one of humanity's greatest transformations was waiting at the door: the Industrial Revolution. As the effects of the Industrial Revolution began to spread in the 18th and 19th centuries, the fate of the toothbrush also changed. This object, previously accessible mostly to wealthy classes, became accessible to the masses for the first time thanks to the production speed brought by mechanization. The mass production of brushes was a major turning point, especially in England. Thanks to easy access to raw materials, standardization of production processes, and falling costs, the toothbrush became a product that an increasingly wider segment could buy. Although most brushes in this period were still made of animal hair, factory production made the material more regular, safer, and more durable. Not only production, but also increasing public health awareness was decisive in the spread of the toothbrush. Dentistry was modernizing, city life was increasing the need for hygiene, and health articles published in newspapers were making oral care a social norm. In this process, even military units began to encourage toothbrush use. In the process extending to World War II, the American Army in particular had its soldiers adopt regular teeth-cleaning practices. This habit spread to civilian life after the war, ensuring the toothbrush became widespread in America, and then the whole world. The toothbrush was no longer a luxury, but a necessity. Society's understanding of health had changed, and teeth cleaning had become an integral part of the modern world. By the early 20th century, the toothbrush was now an industrial product, but a large part of society had still not adopted regular oral care. It was at this point that the rise of modern marketing came into play. The advertising industry began to market the toothbrush not only as a cleaning tool, but as a symbol of health, status, and civilized life. Slogans like "indispensable for health," "the secret to a whiter smile," and the hygiene tool of the future were used in newspaper ads. Famous names, athletes, and health authorities became the faces of brands. Colorful posters, ads shown before movies, and even flyers pasted on street walls all gave the same message: those who don't brush their teeth get left behind. Ads were so effective that oral hygiene even turned into social pressure. The emphasis on clean breath in job interviews and white teeth in social relationships became increasingly prominent. Oral care became an invisible but powerful expectation of modern society. In this period, the first advertising strategies presenting the toothbrush, not just as a product, but as a part of personal development and civilized life, were born. We still see the traces of these strategies in advertisements today. The Industrial Revolution produced the brush. Ads turned it into culture. One of the biggest leaps in toothbrush history occurred in DuPont laboratories in 1938, the invention of nylon thread. This invention radically changed not only the textile industry, but also toothbrushes. Because nylon bristles offered huge advantages over animal hairs: more hygienic, more durable, much lower bacteria retention rate, does not soften or deteriorate when wet, does not create bad odors in the mouth, can be produced in standard thickness. Since it was the first material to combine so many advantages, nylon became the industry standard almost overnight. The first nylon toothbrush was released in the U.S. under the name Dr. West's Miracle Tuft. This brush was such a revolution that it spread to the European market in a short time. The toothbrush was no longer an object used by the rich or the curious, but a universal household item sold everywhere in the world. But more importantly, thanks to nylon, the form of the toothbrush began to diversify. Soft, medium, hard bristles, bristle arrangements in different lengths, ergonomic handle designs, special sizes for children, colorful plastic handles. The toothbrush we hold today is largely the legacy of the nylon revolution. With the invention of the electric toothbrush in the mid-20th century, a new era in oral care began. These devices were developed to clean areas missed in manual brushing, provide vibration at a constant speed, and achieve more effective plaque control. Early models were bulky and limited, but as technology advanced, electric brushes became lighter, faster, and more user-friendly. Today, electric brushes do not just offer rotation or vibration movement. They are like small computers equipped with sensors. Modern smart brushes prevent excessive pressure with pressure sensors, teach ideal brushing time with timers, create an intraoral map by connecting to mobile apps, record brushing habits, offer AI-supported suggestions, have different modes: gum massage, whitening, sensitive cleaning, etc. In some models, these features transform oral care into a personalized experience, while bringing dentistry closer to a preventive care model. Electric and smart brushes show that dental hygiene is no longer just a routine, but a technological ecosystem. The toothbrush evolved from a simple object to a high-tech health tool. In the 21st century, the toothbrush had to transform once again. This time the need was not hygiene, but the planet itself. Billions of plastic toothbrushes go to trash every year, and since most cannot be recycled, they remain in nature without decomposing for decades. This situation clearly reveals that modern hygiene has an invisible environmental cost. The sustainability movement stepped in at this point. In recent years, toothbrushes made from bamboo have attracted great attention worldwide. Since bamboo is both a rapidly renewable resource and a naturally antibacterial material, it offers an eco-friendly alternative. The handles being biodegradable in nature has the potential to significantly reduce plastic waste. Another innovation is bioplastic brushes. These materials produced from plant-based polymers carry much lower environmental impacts compared to petroleum derivatives. Also, modular designs, systems where only the head of the brush is changed, increase sustainability by reducing waste. Some designers have even started producing personalized brushes with 3D printing. This approach reduces material consumption and opens the door to perfect-fit hygiene devices. Sustainable brushes are no longer just a trend. They are becoming a fundamental component of the future of oral care. Every new design we encounter today reminds us of this. The evolution of the toothbrush is not over. It has simply moved to a new stage. And this stage is the product of a consciousness that considers the health of the planet as much as human health. The toothbrush is one of humanity's quietest but longest-running companions. Picking it up every morning is so natural, so ordinary, that we often forget there is a story of thousands of years behind this small tool. But history tells us this: no everyday object is truly simple. Each one is a small reflection of humanity's ways of solving problems, responses to their needs, and creativity. This journey, which began with chewing sticks, carries behind it the stiffness of pig bristles, the splendor of ivory handles, the machines of the industrial age, the persuasive power of advertising, the chemical revolution of nylon, and the silent intelligence of smart technologies. And today, it continues its evolution with new generation designs that harm nature less. When you look at a toothbrush, you will no longer see an object consisting of just a few bristles. It is not just a summary of dentistry. It is a small summary of human history. A trace of an era in every fiber. The texture of a culture in every handle. A hidden need in every transformation. As the world changed, the toothbrush changed. And it silently reminded us, civilization is built not only with great inventions, but also with the great stories behind small objects.